What is up? What is up, YouTube? Hey, I'm just gonna tell y'all, man. First of all, it is 3 o'clock in the morning. Uncle Mike couldn't sleep, so can't sleep. Come down in the studio, do reactions. I should be doing music. Don't want to do no music. One of these days, I promise y'all, I'm gonna do some music, man. It's been 2 years of me promising. Every now and then, I just pick up an instrument and jam or play. But check this out, Diddy. This a long crime. Well, they got, this says Diddy caught telling more lies in the courtroom. Why do they have a picture of Jay-Z and Beyonce? Maybe Diddy lying on Beyonce and Jay-Z. Maybe that's why the picture up there. Who knows? Anyway, oops, it's on mute, so I'm gonna take that off mute real quick. Y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Diddy telling more lies in the courtroom. Are we gonna get that? What lies did Diddy tell in the courtroom? Or at least his lawyers, right? I just adjusted some things and fine-tuned it. So I gotta do this video and see. I can't see that little monitor. Oh, well, I can't hook that monitor up and do this at the same time. Dang it. So all I gotta do now is make sure the focus is my face in focus. Is my face in focus? Anyway, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, baby. Let's check this bad boy.
Beyonce, 𝗗𝗢𝗡𝗞𝗦, those are some of the names that appear in an explosive new lawsuit. LeBron James, Jay-Z, Beyonce, 𝗗𝗢𝗡𝗞𝗦, those are some of the names that appear in an explosive new lawsuit filed by a Florida man against Sean Combs.
A new Diddy accuser claiming he was sexually assaulted, raped, and humiliated at a freak-off party in Miami, and that other big stars saw him in rough shape.
Sean Diddy Combs is facing new accusations of human trafficking as he awaits his federal trial.
And then the other people who were there in general. It's just this lawsuit technically does sound like an April Fool's joke, but no, it is not. This is a real lawsuit filed by a real attorney.
Upon leaving the event, plaintiff overheard defendant Diddy ask defendant Eric, "You're going to be getting rid of him, right?" To which defendant Eric responded, "Yeah, I'll be taking care of that."
A single bombshell fact can shatter your perception of a legend. At this very moment, a storm is raging around Sean Diddy Combs as he faces fresh, shocking accusations. Accusations that not only question his actions, but also his credibility in court.
Man,
what if everything
ridiculous.
you thought you knew about him was just smoke and mirrors? Prepare to dive into a narrative filled with jaw-dropping details and explosive revelations that will keep you glued to every word.
Here is where 𝗗𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦, or KK, comes in. Parham claims at one point Combs held a knife to her and threatened to give her a Glasgow smile. But, quote, defendant KK told defendant Diddy that she did not think giving plaintiff a Glasgow smile would be advantageous to their potential clients who they could sell plaintiff for sex to. Defendant KK then made a threat to plaintiff that they could ship her off anywhere in the world and that she would never see her family or anyone she knew ever again. An accusation, I'm sorry if I had to get graphic here, there's an accusation that Combs had forced 𝗗𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦 to use a syringe to insert an IUD into Parham. And apparently she and Combs argued over it, not over actually doing it, but that it wasn't going to work. And then there's this. When defendant Drewski finished raping plaintiff, defendant KK, 𝗗𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦, entered the room to examine the condition of plaintiff who was barely able to move or control her bodily functions. Defendant KK examined plaintiff to see if she needed assistance and was about to give plaintiff an IV fluid. Plaintiff cannot be certain if she did or did not receive such intravenous intervention. Defendant KK then opened a different bag, different than the one defendant Diddy removed the oil from, where plaintiff observed several medicine bottles, IV fluid bags, and other unidentifiable powder-like drugs. Defendant KK then removed a pill from one of the medicine bottles and gave it to defendant Diddy. And there were further allegations in the complaint that she needed to keep the plaintiffs in the case sufficiently drugged, that she carried around and gave out drugs, that she provided plaintiff with an IV, like I mentioned, which, by the way, is important because we know that one of the allegations in Combs' criminal case is that IV fluids would be used after prolonged, allegedly illegal sexual episodes, and that she tried to force one of the plaintiffs, an unidentified woman, to sign documents as well. By the way, in this case, she's being sued for racketeering violations, battery, assault, negligence, intentional and negligent infliction of emotional distress, unjust enrichment, aiding and abetting, sex trafficking, false imprisonment.
Joseph Manzaro.
Diddy's right-hand lady. For how many years? I don't know how long, y'all. I don't know how long, but I do know this. She had to sing something. She had to heard the rumors of something and wanted to investigate at least. If I heard any type of rumors of my boss or the people I'm working with are doing some crazy stuff, I would want to know. And I would get the heck out of Dodge.
A Florida man has come forward with allegations that shake the very foundation of Diddy's legacy. According to Manzaro, back in April 2015, during a birthday bash for Diddy's own son, Christian Combs, a disturbing incident unfolded at a wild event known as a freak-off. Imagine a party where the rules of decency were tossed aside and chaos reigned. A setting where even A-list celebrities like Jay-Z, Beyoncé, LeBron James, and Gloria Estefan were in attendance. But it isn't the celebrity list that will stun you. It's what allegedly happened behind the glitz and glamour.
LeBron James, Jay-Z, Beyoncé, Gloria Estefan, those are some of the names that appear in an explosive new lawsuit filed by a Florida man against Sean Combs, claiming he was a victim of sex trafficking and kidnapping at the hands of the music mogul. So why are these celebrities mentioned? What are the allegations? And most importantly, does any of this hold water?
A new Diddy accuser claiming he was sexually assaulted, raped, and humiliated at a freak-off party in Miami, and that other big stars saw him in rough shape. TMZ is all over this story. Branson Quirk joining us live. Now, Branson, let me get this right. This new Diddy accuser is basically claiming he was sexually assaulted at the freak-off party, and he claims that other celebrities were there as well.
Yes, exactly. In this lawsuit, it's important to note that these names are not being sued, but they are named as witnesses inside this lawsuit, those names being Jay-Z, Beyoncé, Gloria Estefan, as well as LeBron James. Just to paint you a little bit of a picture of this horrific lawsuit, a man by the name of Joseph Manzano, he claims that he had, in the beginning of this lawsuit, he claims that he woke up in a mansion, this is way back in April of 2015, in a mansion owned by Gloria and Emilio Estefan, and when he woke up not knowing how he got there, he was then led through a tunnel to Diddy's house, and we can confirm that Diddy, his home is nearby to Gloria and Emilio Estefan's home, and once he was through this tunnel, he eventually came across and claimed that LeBron James was walking by in a towel of sorts, saw him in rough shape and said, someone's got to do something about this, and then continuing on through that, they ended up stripping his clothes. They put a demoralizing mask on him, a genitalia mask of sorts on his face to humiliate him. And then he claims that Beyoncé and Jay-Z saw him in this mask, prompting Beyoncé to then ask, why is there this man in front of me wearing this mask? And then claims that going forward, he doesn't remember too much more, and he said that he was drugged and everything. So
Manzaro's lawsuit alleges that Diddy not only sexually assaulted him, but did so in a manner that is both degrading and disturbing. The claim? That Diddy strapped a penis to his face and paraded him around in front of the party guests. This isn't just a fleeting scandal. This is a claim so outrageous that it forces us to ask, how much of what we see is real, and how much is a well-orchestrated performance, being drugged and taken to a lavish party on Star Island in Miami? Arriving at the back entrance of Emilio and Gloria Estefan's mansion, he was found in a drug-induced stupor, an observation that prompted Gloria to call for help. Yet, the chaos only deepened when Emilio allegedly hushed her concerns and sent everyone back to the revelry. Even LeBron James is said to have intervened, reportedly stating, "Y'all better do something about that," signaling that the alarm bells were ringing among the elite. What does it mean when those you trust to uphold decency are complicit in a far more sinister scene?
There is an explosive new lawsuit that I'm going to break down for you, filed by a man named Joseph Manzaro in Florida. And this is actually in Florida federal court. So he is actually identifying himself in this lawsuit. He's not using a pseudonym. And he claims that he is a survivor of human trafficking and sexual exploitation, and more specifically, as outlined in the complaint, quote, plaintiff was drugged, transported against his will, and sexually maimed as a victim of a coercive and organized criminal enterprise beginning in 2015, orchestrated and facilitated by the defendants. The pattern of threats, concealment, manipulation, and psychological coercion persisted for years, extending the statute of limitations under federal tolling doctrines. Now, here is the kicker. Quote, high-profile individuals, including Jacob Arabo, Jay-Z, Gloria Estefan, LeBron James, and Beyonce Knowles Carter, are identified as witnesses due to their presence or knowledge of the events surrounding the freak-off orchestrated by defendant Diddy. Wow. And freak-off, of course, is something that we've heard many times before, both in Combs' criminal case and other civil cases, to describe these prolonged sexual episodes, usually with sex workers. But Manzaro is suing Sean Combs. He is suing a man named 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗞𝗦. He is suing Brendan Paul, who's been described in another lawsuit as Sean Combs' drug mule, Emilio Estefan, who is married to pop superstar Gloria Estefan. So it reads, quote, on or about April 2015 at approximately 5:30 p.m., very specific time there, plaintiff arrived at his residence located at 424 Valley Forge Road, West Palm Beach, Florida. As plaintiff unlocked his door and turned the handle, he felt a greasy substance resembling Vaseline on his hand. Plaintiff attempted to wash his hands, but lost consciousness before he could do so. Okay, now first off, that is eerily consistent with other accounts that Combs allegedly spiked lubricants of unsuspecting victims. But moving on, he claims that he passes out, he wakes up, and then he's in the backseat of a car. And he claims that this car is driven by Mr. Mejias, and there's another person in there, a Bonnie Rivera. And he claims before passing out once more, he hears Rivera telling Mejias, he's waking up cuz, what should I do? Do you want me to knock him out? To which defendant Mejias allegedly responded, no, don't touch him. Don't worry. Just give it a minute. He'll fall back asleep again. I gave him a lot of that scopolamine, which is apparently an anti-nausea medication. Now, from there, Manzaro claims that he woke up at Mejia's place in Deerfield Beach, which is about 30 miles away, and he claims that is where he was held against his will. He claims he witnessed a man identified as Omar Bravo deliver cocaine and meth to Mejias, and Brendan Paul was there, quote, appearing nervous and sat with a motorcycle helmet in his lap. Again, very specific details. And he claims the drugs were placed in Paul's backpack, who then remarked how Combs wanted Manzaro brought to a freak-off event. Now, this is where all the celebrities come in. So Manzaro claims that he was taken to One Star Island Drive in Miami, Florida, and that Mejias informed security there that they were attending an event at the Estefan Mansion and mentioned it was Christian's birthday party that night. Now, in this complaint, it's not clarified as far as I can tell who Christian is, but it seems to be possibly this was Christian Combs, Combs' son.
But the narrative doesn't stop at the party's doorstep.
Man,
as the evening wore on, Manzaro was reportedly...
That's Al Sharpton there. Everybody who want to be something. Man, all these fake
possibly
people,
this
man.
was Christian Combs, Combs' son.
This.
But the narrative doesn't stop at the party's doorstep.
Right there, that's Al Sharpton. What is he doing there at the party? That's the skinny Al Sharpton. That's crazy. Wow.
As the evening wore on, Manzaro was reportedly led through a secret tunnel within Diddy's sprawling mansion by none other than Adria English, a figure now entangled in her own legal battle. Inside this hidden passage, the unexpected and the macabre collided when he encountered Jay-Z and Beyonce. In that surreal moment, Beyonce allegedly demanded, "What's this? What's this all about? Why is this half-naked white man with a mask standing here in front of me?" And then, as if scripted, a member of Diddy's entourage chillingly responded, "Diddy wants him to see what we do to snitches. This is part of his punishment."
Now, 𝗟𝗡𝗡𝗞𝗦 claims that the security logs at the entrance of Star Island would reflect this entry, so something that he hopes to get during the course of discovery. Now, from there, the complaint reads, plaintiff was dragged through the back entrance of the Estefan mansion at approximately 12:30 a.m. Not sure how he knows that time if he was in this drugged state, but he continues, inside, Gloria Estefan panicked upon seeing plaintiff's deteriorating state, demanding, call an ambulance. However, defendant Emilio quickly silenced her and ushered her away into the crowd. At that moment, plaintiff briefly saw LeBron James, who was wearing a white bath towel, brown shower shoes, and carrying a shaving bag, walking through the hallway. LeBron James looked at plaintiff and, in response to Gloria Estefan's plan for an ambulance, remarked, "Y'all better do something about that." Quote, plaintiff was then led by defendant Adria, who identified herself as Diddy's personal sexual assistant, and through a concealed tunnel that connected the Estefan mansion to defendant Diddy's mansion, plaintiff was secretly transferred to defendant's Diddy mansion. So that's going to become a question if in fact their mansions are close enough for this to even happen, and whether there is evidence of this underground tunnel or this tunnel of some sort. Quote, upon regaining partial consciousness, the plaintiff found himself inside a large party area upon information and belief that it was Diddy's son's birthday party. Jay-Z and Beyonce Knowles Carter were seated in the room, and upon seeing plaintiff, Beyonce Knowles Carter asked, "What's this? What's this all about? Why is this half-naked white man with a blank mask standing here in front of me?"
Manzaro's account describes a night where he was forcibly paraded around, left in nothing but a small thong and a black leather mask. The mask, with its sinister attachment, forcibly inserted and zipped closed over his head, symbolizes not just humiliation, but the complete dehumanization he endured. When celebrity jeweler 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦 reportedly exclaimed in disbelief, "What's this? What's going on with this guy? Why is he standing here staring at me with a penis strapped to his face?" It wasn't just a question, it was an indictment of a night gone horrifically off script.
Defendant Eric responded, "Diddy wants him to see what we do to snitches. This is part of his punishment." Plaintiff was forcefully paraded through multiple rooms filled with people who were jeering and taunting him. Defendant Diddy explicitly ordered plaintiff's degradation, stating, "He's going to find out what we do to snitches tonight. Get him undressed." So from there, 𝗟𝗡𝗡𝗞𝗦 claims he was stripped, put in a shower, forcibly washed by two women while Mejías and Rivera watched, and then was outfitted in a thong, a black leather mask with a lock over his mouth, and then, quote, subjected to degrading and non-consensual acts at the direction of defendants Diddy and Adria. Plaintiff was sexually assaulted and forced to partake in unwanted sexual activity. And then he claims he passed out. Now, from there, he claims he woke up, found himself locked in a dark side room. Adria English and Mejías come in. They dress him, take him off the property, and then enters 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦, also known as Jacob the Jeweler. You probably know who he is. Quote, while still semi-conscious, plaintiff encountered 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦, who was visibly disturbed upon seeing plaintiff in his forced attire. He asked, "What's this? What's going on with this guy? Why is he standing here staring at me with a penis strapped to his face?" Defendant Eric responded, "Oh, he's just some guy who's a snitch. We're teaching him a little lesson." Defendant Emilio intervened, instructing defendant Eric and Bonnie Rivera to move the plaintiff out of 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦's sight. Gloria Estefan again pleaded for an ambulance to be called, but defendant Emilio silenced her and shoved her into the crowd.
Now let's zoom out. While the lawsuit names Diddy alongside Emilio Estefan, Adria English, and others, the bigger picture looms. How does this scandal fit into the mosaic of Diddy's mounting legal troubles? His legal team fired back with a statement calling the lawsuit a desperate grab for headlines, a claim meant to dismiss these explosive allegations as nothing more than a calculated scheme to squeeze money out of him. But when you scrutinize the details, the narrative takes on a life of its own, painting a picture of a man who may have woven a web of lies and manipulation around his own public persona.
And then the other people were there in general. It's just this lawsuit technically does sound like an April Fool's joke, but no, it is not. This is a real lawsuit filed by a real attorney, and this man claims that this did all happen.
Yeah, well, worth mentioning, Diddy is innocent until proven guilty. There's no proof that these celebrities were even at this party, and anyone can make up a false allegation against a celebrity or someone in the public eye to try and take them down, right?
No, you're absolutely right. And honestly, too, we did a little bit more research. And April 1st, LeBron James, he was in town playing in Miami the next day. So people are also pointing to that as a fact that he may have been there the night before. But there's just so many details here that when you look at this entire thing, it almost looks kind of like a screenplay was written throughout, comparing to the other lawsuits here, because it's so similar to the other lawsuits.
Diddy is not just contending with a single lawsuit. He is accused of orchestrating a systematic operation that includes drugging, sexual assault, human trafficking, and witness tampering. In a separate lawsuit, it's alleged that Diddy's actions formed part of an organized criminal enterprise, with 𝗟𝗡𝗡𝗞𝗦 even comparing the horrific events to modern-day trafficking operations. One must ask, when a powerful figure like Diddy is implicated in such a sprawling scandal, could it be that every claim and every counterclaim is another piece in a puzzle of deceit?
Upon leaving the event, plaintiff overheard defendant Diddy ask defendant Eric, "You're going to be getting rid of him, right?" To which defendant Eric responded, "Yeah, I'll be taking care of that." Following this described freak-off event, 𝗟𝗡𝗡𝗞𝗦 claims he was taken back to that house where he claims he was originally kept. He was savagely beaten and then left for dead inside of his own apartment. When a gang member later inquired about how plaintiff was kept unconscious, defendant Eric responded, "Xylazine, trank." Now, again, I have to say, I struggle with the question of how he knew that this was allegedly said. Did he overhear it? Okay, that's a possibility, but could he, through these alleged beatings and druggings? And that's going to be, I imagine, a difficulty for him in pursuing this case. Now, 𝗟𝗡𝗡𝗞𝗦 claims as a result of all of this, he suffered physical injuries, internal trauma, groin damage, sexual maiming, hernias, and he claims he can prove this through documented evaluations from a urologist and a surgeon. But then 𝗟𝗡𝗡𝗞𝗦 alleges that Eric Mejias would continue to harass and intimidate him in the years following this attack, including issuing death threats and threats to kidnap 𝗟𝗡𝗡𝗞𝗦's son. And 𝗟𝗡𝗡𝗞𝗦 believes that this was all to keep him quiet. And he even claims that surveillance footage and police reports confirm attempts by Mejias to approach 𝗟𝗡𝗡𝗞𝗦's property. Additionally, a hitman named Sigfredo Garcia, who's now serving a life sentence in an unrelated murder, was in plaintiff's alleyway. A police report was filed corroborating this encounter, seen as an associate of defendant Eric was captured on security cameras outside plaintiff's residence, further evidence of a coordinated campaign of intimidation. Do you all remember who Sigfredo Garcia is? He was the man convicted and sentenced to life in prison for the 2014 assassination of FSU law professor Dan Markel, a case that has its own twists and turns and that had several trials we covered on the Law and Crime Trial Network. So here's a question for you, okay? Why wait all these years to file a lawsuit, right? That becomes a big question in all of the lawsuits that Sean Combs faces, because his argument would be, this is all a money grab. This is people coming out of the woodwork, they're jumping on the bandwagon, okay. Quote, defendant Adria actively obstructed plaintiff's ability to seek justice by tampering with evidence, interfering with legal proceedings, and conspiring to conceal the crimes committed against plaintiff. Defendant's acts of coercion, obstruction, threat, and ongoing intimidation persisted until at least 2021, demonstrating a clear pattern of misconduct that effectively told the applicable statutes of limitation under federal and state law, meaning the claims aren't time barred anymore because he couldn't bring these claims earlier. Quote, plaintiff has now compiled the necessary evidentiary foundation to proceed with this legal action, including verified medical records, sworn witness statements, and corroborating documentation directly implicating the defendants in his abduction, drugging, sexual exploitation, and abuse.
Adding to the intrigue is the context of Diddy's trial, set to begin on May 5th, 2025, presided over by U.S. District Judge 𝗟𝗜𝗡𝗞𝗦. Known for his storied legal career and his previous handling of high-profile cases, Judge 𝗟𝗜𝗞𝗦's role is central. His courtroom is the arena where every shred of evidence will be scrutinized, every claim tested. And as the trial looms, viewers are left to wonder, will the truth finally emerge, or will the spectacle of courtroom theatrics merely serve to further obfuscate the facts?
Absolutely. If a person knowingly releases to the public a sex tape, like a pornographic graphic nature involving a minor, that is absolutely a criminal offense in federal court and in state court. So I would say that anybody who does that could absolutely be charged with a criminal offense.
But any of these tapes that eventually perhaps may make it out into the public eye, is that a slam dunk? Even if it's not in the public eye, is it a slam dunk, the fact that they're even there for the prosecution? It's
definitely very compelling evidence. Anytime you have videotaped evidence, it's very compelling to a jury and it's very helpful to the prosecution. In my opinion, the federal government, a lot of people don't realize this, but they have like over a 90% conviction rate on any case that they charge. So certainly anything that can up that odds to more than mid 90% is very damaging to the defense.
So I heard on the racketeering charge alone, racketeering is hard to prove, but if you have a case and you've charged them with it, the chances of conviction are pretty high.
Like I said, even the federal government on their own website touts a more than 90% conviction rate. So that, in conjunction with the second count, which involves the sex with a I'm sorry, remind me, count two was, there's count one is racketeering, count two involves sex trafficking.
Exactly.
Which carries a life in prison penalty. With those charges alone, I would say, especially as more victims surface, if there's minor victims, this is very good for the prosecution.
And
Sean Diddy Combs will stand trial in May on his sex trafficking charges. A judge at a hearing in Manhattan set the trial date, also discussing a gag order imposed on prosecutors and the defense, telling them not to discuss the case or provide any material about the case to the media, to the public.
I made a request for the judge to issue what we call the gag order.
They contend that the government leaked a damaging piece of evidence potentially against Combs when a videotape from 2016 was played on CNN earlier this year. That video shows Sean Combs and his then girlfriend Cassie in a hotel in Los Angeles. It had been a secret, private for many years, but then it came to the forefront and was played publicly. The judge says he will consider potentially having an evidentiary hearing to get to the bottom of that. That won't happen for some time. First, the defense and then the prosecution will submit paperwork outlining their positions on this.
Family's doing fine. Difficult circumstance. We're trying to end all of the clowning that's going on the internet, and we're in a good place.
You spoke to him at length.
He's doing fine. It's a difficult circumstance. He's making the best of the situation. You know, Dr. King called it the law of unintended consequences. Sometimes the more people push you down, the stronger you get.
And then there's the insider perspective. Former DA band member Freddie P. recently came forward on The Art of Dialogue, advising Diddy to settle and avoid taking the stand. Freddie P's blunt commentary underscores a broader sentiment among insiders, that Diddy's pride may be his ultimate undoing. He warned, "Your ego f***ing you up. You already guilty in the public opinion, bro. Take the best plea you could get. Try to come home to your kids."
It was, to me, honestly, and this ain't no slight, it's just, I like to see people get, they just do. Like, if he was innocent, I'd be speaking up, like, leave that man alone, because I hate bullies. But if I don't feel like he's guilty, I just feel like, bro, it's there. Like, all them people ain't lying, and then you know when a person lie because you know when a person lying, they ain't going into detail. Like, it's certain things, and people always trying to blame Cassie, like, no, bro, like, you ain't never been around a billionaire before, so you can't be around that, you don't know how to judge that situation when somebody, like, it's kind of like the dude, you ever seen the commercial? They hold a daughter and you like, you gotta be quicker than that. They gonna keep dangling the money in your face. You gonna kiss like the carrot in front of the rabbit. You see the food, you gonna keep chasing it. And eventually you gonna feel like, why would I quit and I done got to the 12th grade? Like, who gets to the 12th grade and quit school? So if you go through so many levels of embarrassment, you know, whatever you wanna call it, and then you get to where you feel like, I surpassed a lot of stuff. I done did the worst of the worst. You go to feeling like, okay, I want to be compensated. But as far as his crib, man, I just feel like, man, they deserve it. You know what I'm saying? You see he quiet. You got to look at the surroundings. Like, people like, why his friends ain't talking? Why? Whoa. First of all, everybody know. This we've been talking about this since I was a kid. Everybody know. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no sitting around to be acting like it's brand new right now. That shit irritates me. I was enjoying it because it's just one type of party, man. Just stay to yourself, mind your business. I'm not even looking at you nasty bitch. Like, I'm just like, I know y'all not looking at me. You get what I'm saying? At that time, man, you just happy to smoke weed, man, in privacy, man. We were just happy to get away from everybody and get our weed in the air. Like, when I hear stuff about Puffy right now, I'm like, yo, how far this nigga done came? Because if anybody can remember, it was an episode where he put us off his bus for smoking cigarettes. Now I hear the nigga smoke cigarettes, he do drugs, he do this and that. Like, what? This nigga was disciplined.
Yeah.
This nigga hated cigarette smoke.
Yeah.
He couldn't read. Like, people didn't know that. Like, he had a dyslexia. He couldn't read. The nigga was like, he couldn't read. Like, his reading was slow. Yeah, he had to learn how to read. Like, when we was there, he was like, they was like a secret, but he couldn't read. Puffy couldn't read. Like, I'm not lying. Like, the nigga couldn't.
Damn, he said that joint about 10 times. Puffy couldn't read. He couldn't read. Yeah, he couldn't read. That's why he had to figure out to have other things, more power this way and more power that way to cover up his disability, so to speak.
Like, well, and you can still see it with his acting and stuff like that. That's probably why he won't get a lot of gigs that got teleprompters and stuff like that. But I'm listening to him now and I'm like, yo, he done got better. Like, you know what I'm saying? He done got better now with his speech, education, everything, but he just couldn't read like that. Like, that's what they told me, and I hear the nigga read and some shit, he be stuttering and shit. Like, oh, maybe it's true.
Damn.
As we approach the trial date, the burning questions persist. Is Diddy really hiding behind a web of lies, or is this the final piece that exposes his true colors? Could these explosive allegations finally shatter the facade of one of entertainment's most powerful figures? Or is it all just another desperate attempt to rewrite his story?
Damn.
If you're hungry for every twist and turn of this scandal, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because the truth is coming, and you won't want to miss a single revelation.
Damn, young. So Diddy got a hard King Combs breaking down in court apology and exposing Diddy secured. Oh my God. You know, I can't talk about reading. I can read though, I just don't want to. Check it out, man. What it say? Diddy caught lying, telling lies and all that stuff. I knew that's clickbait title, but I gotta do it. Check it out, man. A lot of people that was at these parties and hanging around Diddy, man, even with making of the band and stuff, I mean, a lot of people realize there's some trippy stuff. I ain't down with this. Then a lot of people start saying, there's some trippy stuff. Oh, if I gotta do this, I'm down with it in order to get to where I need to get to. And that English girl, man, she is, poor thing. She don't realize how she all over the daggone place. She hooked up with one podcaster on YouTube, and they hit the internet, and that joint blew. That joint blew. And then all of a sudden, people start like, wait a minute, this, that, and the third. Oh man, and next thing you know, where's she at now? Her and her little girlfriend, I can't remember her name. Nate something. Now they both got YouTube channels. I can't even find them, man. They you know, people seeing this fame, man, and they seeing these shortcuts. If you are looking for a shortcut all through your life, man, you would never make it. Look for the long cuts. I'm putting something together now, trying to tell people to look for the long cut. As soon as I tell people to take your time and learn this music business, man, I'm looking for the shortcut. So I gotta give them something that look like a shortcut and try to teach them something. they don't want to learn, man. I don't think I can't find nobody that want to learn the business of music. So I sit here and do reactions, man. It's easier. Just me, myself, and I. I'm gonna get on up out of here, man. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. No echo on this side. Peace out.